Happy New Year, everybody.
New Year.
This will come out, of course, I think in mid-January or later January, but it is technically New Year's for us as we record this. And yay, Lindsay is back. Yay. Welcome to the show today. We're going to talk with Eric E. Medina, artist and slave of the cutest dog you'll ever see. Welcome to the show, Eric. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Hello, Eric. It's lovely to see you.
Morning.
We usually start right back at the beginning. Like, how did you get into art? What did you like drawing? Did you start drawing when you were a kid?
Yeah.
Start there.
Okay. I started drawing in third grade. It wasn't really drawing, but it kept my attention. They would give us these notebooks at school. That's all I remember, these blue notebooks. And they were always like, what are you doing now? Instead of learning, which I was a little bit, but I was more drawing in class. And it was literally stick figures, but instead of like a cowboy and Indian, it was like a full-on background with birds and, little guns in the background and mountains and the scenery. And it just kept going from there. And it hasn't stopped since.
What were you inspired by? Did you have any cartoons you were inspired by or comics or anything like that?
At the time, it was a lot of Woody Woodpecker and Tom and Jerry.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, no, I used to, when I would stay home and I was sick, that's all I would watch. Like, I would wake up in the morning, watch my G.I. Joe and Transformers and He-Man and stuff. And then I'm like, okay, well, there's nothing to do. I don't feel good. I'm sick the rest of the day. My mother would call and check on me since she was a teacher. I'd be eating soup. She's like, you better be in bed when I get home. And I'd be watching Tom and Jerry all day and Woody Woodpecker and whatever cartoons were on throughout the day.
Oh, totally understand that. I did the same thing as a kid.
The good old days.
We had a Betamax. Do you remember Betamax video recorders?
Yes.
Like, we used to have to pause ours in the right place. So it didn't keep doing that, so I could copy the picture and tell it.
No, I remember all that stuff. I'm sure my dad still has some of that stuff saved. He saves everything. My mother yells at him all the time.
Wow, they're collector's items now.
Oh, yeah, they are. No, the old VHS tapes, I seen them the other day I forgot where I seen them on some site, and they're getting them graded now. They're worth thousands of dollars.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just like, wish I had all those VHS tapes unopened.
Oh, dear. So, after school, did you go on to study art after school, or?
No, I was gonna go to an art college out here in Orange County, and then I decided not to. I just kept going with it. I had a cousin who was interested in art. I did a little bit here. He would show me a little bit here and there. Once I found out, I didn't know I had a cousin who could draw. Then after that, he just kept, all right, you need to stop tracing my work now. Now you actually got to do some work. I'm like, this is the easiest way. And I would like trace it, and I would get upset because it wasn't perfect, but it was good for like a younger kid. I'm like, oh, this is impressive. But then I kept thinking back to, I had 4 friends in middle school and, in third grade and all that growing up. And these kids could draw like professionals. I'm just like, how do you draw like that? And they would I'm like, draw me this. And my friend would charge me $5, $10. Okay, buy me lunch today, the lunch line. Okay. And these guys are like straight up professionals. And I'm just like, I cannot believe it. And that's what, that was another thing that kept me going. And once I found out my cousin could draw, I'm like, you didn't tell me. It's like, oh yeah, I've been drawing forever. So, he like, come over on the weekend, I'll start showing you. And I remember going into his room, just covered in artwork and markers. And I'm like, oh, what's this? I'm picking up supplies, and they're paint pens, those old deco paint markers. Those were the big things back in the day, was deco.
Yeah.
And yeah, I used those and the fabric ones, and I was using those like religiously. Then I just never stopped then. I didn't go to art college. I didn't go to middle school for art. I took art in high school. My teacher was constantly stopping me. Eric, what are you doing? You're supposed to draw an apple. You're supposed to draw. I'm like, I'm already done. And she's like, but you can do better. I know you. I'm like, yeah, but I got other things to do. And I would be like in art class, like, supposed to be drawing apples and birds and scenery. And I'd hurry up and finish and draw something that I wanted that was better to me.
When you do an art piece, do you like to put a lot of things going on in it?
Yeah, I
You like
hate simple stuff. It drives me crazy. Like example, I was drawing some stuff last night that I'm trying to hurry up and get done, but for some reason I try hurrying and I can't hurry. Even the quickest sketch card I'll get done, I mean, still takes me 4 hours, and that's just a simple sketch card. But like a sketch card, like a full-on sketch card, it usually takes me 10 to 12 hours. And I'm like, they're trying to hurry, and I'm just like, it's so frustrating because I need to get them done, and that's what pushes my time.
Wow. So what's your chosen materials for doing your sketch cards?
Everything. The one I started last night that I'll be finishing today is Black Widow color pencils, Prismacolor color pencils, a marker, I believe out of Romania, Russia area, called Graphmaster. They're an alcohol marker.
Heard of that, and the Black Widow pencils. I've never heard of that either. So
they're a wax-based brand.
Where'd you find them?
I've been keeping an eye on them for a year, and I'm just like, okay, let me try them all, but I don't want to try them and not like them. I hate buying product and I'll throw it away. I've done it, full on brand new stuff, and people are like, "Are you crazy?" And they'll get on me, and I'm just like, "That's just me. That's how I am." Found them online, tried them out.
If you're not going to use them, like, I mean, I've bought portrait art color pencil sets, and they've been really scratchy and horrible. And I'll just keep them, even though I'll like dodge them, not use them.
I've done that, and I mean, I still have some stuff sitting around. I cleaned out my studio about a year ago, and I got rid of a lot of stuff. There's some stuff now that I've learned to mess around with more materials and more mixed media. There's stuff that I'm like, okay, I don't like it for this, but I can use it on something else.
Yeah. So tell me a bit about those other markers. I've never heard of those.
The Graphmaster markers they're based out of like Russia or Romania, I believe. They're hard to get a hold of.
I was going to say, how do you get them? I mean,
I honestly just found them on Instagram. I'm like, okay, these markers look cool. I'm like looking at the pictures of the artists using them. I'm like, okay, they look pretty good. I got a hold of them. They're impossible to get a hold of because they're sold out everywhere. Or if you do get them, you're going to be paying a lot. I actually found a company. They have a display left, but they won't sell me the display, but they'll sell me all the markers.
So are they better than the markers that are easy to get?
So I use mixed media every day. Like the Garbage Pail Kids, I'll use like 3 types of alcohol markers. Like right now, the ones I'll be working on starting next week, for the next 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks to month, will be Olo markers, which are brand new. They're one of my, sponsors that back me up and supply me yearly. I'll be using a little bit of Black Widow pencils, which they supply me yearly. I use excellent marker out of China called Fine Color.
Okay.
That's a new set I got in. They have a refill. They're basically like a Copic marker. They have the same refill style, same change out the nibs and all that. The only difference is with them, they don't have that weird grit like Copic. When you use Copic, you see like that stuff behind them, I guess.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah. Depending on the surface, yeah.
The price point is way better. Copics are super pricey, and I'll say that any day of the week. I used to work for them for 3 years. They used to sponsor me, and they would send me a lot of markers, but I just got over them, and I'm like,
so why do you use different markers on your work, like on the same piece? What's the benefit for that?
A way of using a lot of them. It was brands I'm like, I'm gonna test these out, and then I started liking them, and I can't just buy 1 or 2 markers or a stack. I'll just go and buy the whole display. I'm like, I just have to buy the whole set or whole display. If before it was buying like a good amount of markers, and I'm like, oh, this is boring. I need the whole color chart. And I didn't do a lot of mixed media. It was just all markers. And I got to learn like, hey, you should be using paint. You should be using acrylics, gouache, watercolor, airbrush. Like last night I was using airbrush. I was using Olo markers. I was using Thule acrylic markers, Posca.
Mhm.
It's I mean, you find out you can get a lot better work quality using mixed media. Like I can't just go in there and use a whole Copic marker on one piece. It'll drive me crazy.
Okay,
I'm
so
like, you can get better art.
you like to use on the same piece, you like to not only mix your medias, but like if you're going to use Copics, you like to mix your companies together.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
that's
find
great. That's
I find
interesting.
out it works better for me. Conte pencils I use every day, no matter what, on every piece. Conte pencils is involved. Their pastels are just awesome.
Okay, you're basically an art store on two legs.
Pretty much. That's what everybody says. I have, I've had a couple of clients I found out, in the Garbage Pail Kid groups on Facebook and stuff that follow my art and are constantly buying. And they'll get commissions. And I'm like, you know what? Where do you? And I look, I'm like, I'm going to send it out. And I'll look at their address. And I'm like, oh, this guy lives in Tustin. This guy lives in Irvine. I'm like, why don't you just come over to my place and pick up your art? You can see my studio. And, two of the clients, one of them I actually became good friends with. And he's here constantly helping me rearrange my Garbage Pail Kid collection because it's like massive, thousands and thousands of cards, and I have no time for it. So he'll go through it and help me clean it out. And they've come over and see my studio, and they're just like, this is like a full-on art store. I'm like, yeah, pretty much.
So was that your first love of trading cards then? Was it Garbage Pail Kids?
Yeah, Garbage Pail Kids, and then I went to baseball cards.
That must be so cool. Like, tell us a little bit how you came to be working on Garbage Pail Kids.
I thought about applying for them a long time ago, and I just never did it. I'm like, it's going to be impossible to get in for these guys. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to see. One day I just grabbed a piece of cardstock. I cut it down. I'm like, what size are these cards? Got on Google, cut them down. I'm like, okay, this is pretty thick, like a Garbage Pail Kid card. I measured them up. Same height, everything. 2x5, 2x5, 2.5 by 3.5. I drew this card. It took me about a full day, and I wanted to get it perfect. I didn't finish up till like maybe 10, 11 at night. I just happened to post it online to see what people thought of it. All of a sudden, within that night, my Facebook kept going off posts and messages, and do you do commissions? And I'm just like, wait, what are you talking about? And the only problem with that card was I had got it with the real Garbage Pail Kid logo. I went to like Office Depot over here, Staples, whatever I went to at the time. I wanted to look just like the front of the card. I had the little logo, the name insert, but I knew I couldn't sell it because I'm like, I don't got time for a lawsuit. I don't want these guys getting upset. I posted it. All of a sudden, I get that night. I had 11 messages. People like, hey, I want you to do me a commission and What do you charge? I'm like, I don't know. I've never done one. Let me get back to you by tomorrow. Within the next day, I had 12 commissions.
Wow.
And they weren't expensive. I was charging $50 a pop. And within that week, I had so many. It was just within the next few days, I had a total of 22. And that was 2 years before I got into Tops.
And this was what year again?
What was that?
This was what year again that you
2021.
Whoa, yeah, baby. Oh my God, that's not long ago.
Yeah, 2021 July is when I got into Tops. 2 years before that is when I posted that first image. And that's when I kept getting messages, and it didn't stop. And ever since then, I was drawing commissions. And all of a sudden, last year in July, I got contacted by Tops. I got contacted about a month and a half before. We had a conference call. We talked real quick. And they're like, yeah, we're going to get back to you. We're going to get a hold of you soon. Keep an eye on your emails. Don't miss an email. It's going to be important. I'm on the way to San Diego. All of a sudden, I hear my phone go off. I'm checking my email, and it's, from Tops, and I accepted the offer. I'm like, okay. And I haven't stopped since.
Wow. That's good.
Tell us about this, what was it called? The California Takeover set.
It was a limited release, 500 boxes. out in Long Beach of an event called Complex Con. It's a big clothing, shoe event, vendors. It was packed. I mean, I waited in line for hours. Like I said, 500 boxes. Each box came with a sketch card, which is what I do. They get randomly inserted. But the difference with these boxes is they were $100 a box, number one, which is huge for a little box. And they came with a sketch card. So no matter every box you bought, you were going to get a sketch card from, it was only 9 artists. And there's 68 or 62 of us, I believe, total.
Mm.
And they pick who they want in every series or set. So there was only 9 of us. I was one of the 9 chosen. I'd almost missed it because they messaged me. And, all of a sudden I hear my phone go off and he's like, "What's going on? Did you get my message?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Do you want to do this set?" And I didn't know nothing about it. All he said, it was hush hush. And I said, "Yeah, of course. I already told you I want to do, whatever we need to." Message me the details. I was like, "Okay, great." I didn't know it was 9 artists. I didn't know it was that, I thought it was going to be a lot more. It was 9 of us. We wound up coming out in Forbes, our names. There's a whole 4 or 5 page spread, when I researched it. It was like 5 packs per box, and you were getting, like I said, a sketch card, a C card, which is like a name variation, because in Garbage Pail Kids there's A and B, and then they each have their name, and now they start doing C cards, which is like a third name, a variant. So it makes it more valuable. Then they were doing like these things called parallels, which they're usually red, orange, green, blue, black. And so they made some other ones in here. They made red, blue, and gold. And they're all super valuable. If you get them, you were like getting them. I got a handful of them. I sold them right away for massive amounts of money.
So are you still involved with this project, or has it come and gone?
That's come and gone. That was back in early, I think the second week in November, maybe.
Okay.
It's done. The boxes sold out in 2 days.
Wow.
I was only going to go to the event one day. I wasn't even going to go. I'm just like, everybody's like, "You should go. Your art's in those boxes. You should go buy some." And I ended up buying a lot more than I probably should have, but I went, because I had a lot of people on Facebook contacting me. "Can you go? You're like, you live the closest." I live from Long Beach. I live like 20 minutes away.
Man,
So everybody's like, "Can you go?" And next thing you know, I go and I come out spending $10,000 in 2 days. But the thing is, a lot of that money was paid for up front by people and friends on Facebook who wanted those boxes.
So this kind of leads me to a question about your general art career. You obviously are able to make a life with your art and your creativity. Am I right?
Right now, yeah. I took time off from not that I wanted to. I took time off from my full-time job because of a injury, of a car accident that, I got hit by a commercial vehicle. And so I'm in a whole process of dealing with all that drama and doctors and lawyers and procedures that I've had done already.
Oh my. So was your day job related to art, or was it completely?
No, it was, in a way you could say so. I was working for a company called Bear Paint.
Okay, yeah, okay.
So they're like the hugest paint distributor out here. They sell to Home Depot and every store pretty much around. And I was making the paint for them underground in the big containers and all that.
So you've seen how it's done out of public eye.
Yeah, it's when you get in there and you see it, you're just like, okay, it's kind of intimidating, to be honest. You mess up on a batch of paint, it's like an $80,000 batch, $100,000 batch, and you're making anywhere from 2 to 4 of those a night, depending on the size.
Whoa.
And so yeah.
So that's a little bit like the way paint for artists is made. I would
Yes.
imagine sort of similarly in a weird way.
Just a lot bigger fashion, we'll say.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that slowed. So I left my day job last year, and it's good and bad. because they were paying me good amount of money, which is fine at the moment. It keeps me drawing full time now, and I love it. So that's the plan for right now, at least the next 2 to 3 years.
I was going to say, what are your hopes for the future? Are you wanting to get into doing base cards? Are you wanting to get into doing your own sets? Like, where do you see things going?
It's right now. It's to keep drawing for tops, drawing a lot more actually. Which, like I said, is good and bad because then it'll slow down my commissions. But I like drawing the sketch cards for them. It's really getting into other, like getting into the baseball section of tops. Hopefully the Star Wars. The Star Wars is a lot harder to get into because I heard you apply, then they send it to Lucasfilms.
Yep.
And then if they like your art, they're like, okay, you guys can hire them. Go ahead.
Since I think it's Force Awakens, it slightly changed. They took a whole bunch of us. That's what, I don't know how many years ago now that is, but yeah, they sent a whole bunch of names to Lucasfilms, and then you'd see a spike on your website stats and stuff like that. So that meant around and things. But now it's changed yet again, so it could really be hard to get into. So, but
it's a lot harder. What I've heard. I'll be applying for them. Probably not for a while. The main thing is keep going with the Garbage Pail Kids. Obviously, they're my favorite, but drawing the baseball cards, I know I can draw, so I got to get those done. Submit them, and I'll get it. I should have no problem getting in there. I was already told. I wouldn't mind drawing their Marvel cards, all their X-Men and stuff like that, because I can draw all that also.
Upper Deck is that? Isn't it Upper Deck? Is it Upper Deck that does all the Marvel?
The Marvel, Upper Deck.
Yeah. So what's your long-term, do you have a long-term goal for your art in the future, or are you just kind of going with whatever happens?
Right. Honestly, right now I'm going with whatever happens. The big things right now are getting a new top set done that they've already contacted, a few artists for a new set. And I got a friend taking care of a lot of my emails. Trying to get 2 comic book covers for a company called Udon. They do the Street Fighter comic books.
So cool.
Yes. Street Fighter and another huge video game company called Darkstalkers. Same company, all produced by Udon. They do all the comics. And then a comic book company called Dynamite.
Oh yeah.
So we already went and had a meeting in San Diego for the Dynamite comic book. So he's trying to take care of all of that right now. And last night, the drawings I was working on, because they want more finished stuff, was for that company Udon, for the Street Fighter. So he's like, hey, they like your stuff, but they want to see more finished stuff. I'm like, I have no time to. I'm off these guys. I'm thinking, like, they want to hire me, just hire me. I'll do the book, get it done, get it out the way. Let me know what they need. So, he's like, no, but they want. So I'm like, fine, so be it. So the last 3 days, I've been working on some Street Fighter images just to hurry up and knock them out the way. But of course, they're not quick and easy. When I actually get off the interview with you guys, I'm going to head back downstairs because the rain slowed down again. And I'm going to finish them up and submit them to him today so he could turn them in.
Awesome. Which characters have you chosen to do?
I just literally did 5 random. Not even 5 of my favorite. They're 5 random. I did Kin, which is the main character. I did Chun-Li, which is the main female character. And I did who else? Oh, a character called Vega, the guy with the Wolverine claws. So he's another main one.
Oh, it was so fancy, wasn't it, Vega?
Yeah, I did. And I did. Who else did I do? Oh, the American Army character, Guile. Yes, and I did.
I've always played as Guile.
Yeah, he was one of the favorites. And I did. Who else did I do? There's one. Oh, that character Blanca.
Blanca.
The one with the electricity. Yes.
I was going through my comic books the other day and I found some Street Fighter ones from Hong Kong. I didn't even know I had them. They're from the
You got
90s.
them?
I don't know if they're worth anything. I didn't even know. I didn't remember I had them.
Google them up real quick and find out.
I had a look on eBay. They're not on eBay, so there must be. I don't know.
Yeah, they might be worth something.
I can't read them because it's not in English.
Yeah.
So they go from back to front because they read the other way, don't they?
Yeah.
They're
They're
fun.
still collectors. To me, they're still collector's items. You're always gonna find somebody that wants them.
Oh, well, the artwork's really nice.
Oh yeah. No, I got like right now on commissions, I got Garbage Pail Kids sketch cards that I got. So basically the way it works with that, when we do a set, they pay us, we get paid like months later, and they give you a certain amount of returns. The returns are the same as the sketch cards you put in the packs. And then you keep a certain amount of cards, and then you sell them outright to people on Facebook, the groups. And so everybody has a price point of, I'm going to sell my card for X amount of $100. I'm going to sell mine for $300, $400, $500 or more. So I have a limit on my single cards, but when you start getting up to the cards that they send you in returns that are triple cards, that are trifolds, like a little book, or it's called a loaded, it's 4 cards in one. I mean, you're upwards of $500 to $700 to over $1,000, and people buy them. The better you are, the more money you're going to make. I mean, I have no problem. My last cards that I got my returns from California to take over, they sold out in 10 minutes.
Whoa. Awesome.
Yeah. So, and I have people that constantly message me, hey, you have any new ones yet? Can you just put me on a list and I'll prepay or I'll make a payment? Because your stuff's hard to get. I'm like, sure, so that's what's going on.
That keeps you really. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Lindsay.
I was going to say I absolutely love the Facebook customers, but what I tend to do now is I'll put a few on eBay, because what I've noticed is your magazines and people like that, they tend to look on eBay to see what's selling. So if you want to get on a hot list, you need to put something on eBay and have a price.
That's what I've asked friends that, and they'll tell me, oh yeah, I put some of my own stuff on eBay. Sometimes you'll get better money, you'll get better offers. Last time I looked was last week. I have like 4 cards on eBay. They're going for over like $350 a piece, $250.
Nice.
And these are cards that people pull from sketch packs, and I'm like, there's that card. Someone finally pulled it.
It is great to see your work pulled. It's exciting.
No, it is good. I had one guy message me, and he's like, I got one of your cards. I'm like, which one? He's like, go to YouTube. Here's a link. I'm going to send it to you. And he's opening it, and it was one of my better cards. So I was happy that he got it. I'm like, 'cause I know any day of the week he can sell that card for at least $250 easily.
So you have no plans to kind of produce your own sets or anything?
Offhand, no. I'm gonna apply for some other like sketch card companies just to see if I can get in, just because I love drawing. I actually did a startup company a couple of months ago, and they just released them, called Toxic Fumes.
Oh yeah,
it's a small startup.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah. So he contacted me. Those were different. They were like a super thick cardstock, and they were like a green, like an army green. I'm like, how am I supposed to draw on this? Like, one thing about me, I don't like black and white. It drives me crazy. I can't do it. I'll do it if it's requested, but I like color, lots of colors, and and so I'm like,
the card is green.
The card's green. It's like an army green.
That's weird. How are you? Well, if you paint on it with acrylic or something.
If you paint it, yes. So
no markers.
I think I painted 2 cards. Everything else was just black. I did it in black with a couple of highlights. But then once he posted artists online, a couple of my friends that I knew, I started seeing a lot of stuff in color, like tons of stuff in color that looked really good. I'm like, okay, well, I still got 7 sketch cards from there, so I can always color them and sell them. Not a problem.
Cool. So,
sorry, go on, Ingrid.
No, please go ahead, Lindsay.
Well, I was just going to say, what other kind of work would you be interested in doing? Because you mentioned like you want to go towards baseball, which would be like realism. So you like to do both cartoon and realism.
Yeah, oh, I love it. I've ages ago, we'll say, I used to do a lot of live models.
Hmm.
I would have a lot of girls, oh, can you draw me? I'd meet people at events and this and that. And then I would draw like live models. I haven't done that forever. I don't mind doing that. Um, I
Do you have
was
any
in,
interest in fantasy art or
yes,
historic?
I just, I literally love all types of art. I just haven't gotten into it because I'm so busy with all this. And, the only reason the comic books started coming up, the stuff started coming up more was, my friend had contacted me. He's just like, hey, I think you should draw Street Fighter or try getting into Dynamite. And I'm like, yeah, I love the stuff. I just have no time to think about it right now. He's like, I'll make all the calls, this and that. I kid you not. Within the next day, he called me in the morning. It's 8 o'clock. And I'm telling my daughter, because she was home from school that day, she was off from school. And I'm like, I'm going to go to San Diego. I'll see you later. I got to go. And she's like, why? And I told her. So I grabbed the puppy. I'm like, come on, you got to go. Because this dog doesn't stay here alone. So he's like, I'll pick you up at this time. By 9:45, we were on the road to San Diego to go have a meeting with this comic book store.
That's awesome.
Super important question. When are you going to do a dog set? Because that dog of yours is adorable.
She is. We adopted her last year. I get a phone call 6 a.m. We got a puppy here. And I'm like, what? And they're sending me pictures and all these cute pictures. And I'm just like, okay, we'll be over. So me and my girlfriend went, she was off work that day. We went out to lunch, ran errands. I'm like, okay, let's go to my parents' house, go check out this dog. And yeah. And my daughter had wanted the dog. That was the plan. And instead of buying an expensive Frenchie, we're like, oh, we'll just adopt her. So
she's absolutely adorable. One other question. Please tell us all about your art store, aka studio. I want to know everything that's in there. And all the stuff that works really well.
I actually picked up more stuff yesterday, and I'm constantly getting yelled at because my girlfriend's like, you don't need anything else. So instead of going to the art store like all the time, I've been ordering lots of stuff online. I have, let's see, what do we have? I have a little bit of Copics left. I sold off my collection like dirt cheap to a friend. When I was sponsored for Copic, I was getting $3,600 a year of Copic markers.
Yeah,
promote them and all that. I sold off the last of them about a month and a half ago, 2 months. So I probably have like 20 Copics laying around that I just found. I have Arteza markers.
Arteza.
Yes, Arteza. I have them.
I mean, for bright colors, I tend to go for something a bit cheaper because it doesn't seem to make any difference. But for like your subtle colors and different tones.
Yeah, and I have
something a bit more expensive.
I have their main set where I'll use every now and then I probably have like 10 to 12 boxes that are sealed that aren't even open yet, that are just there.
You said you used acrylics. Which brands of acrylics have you been using?
I have Golden. I have a paint for shoes, but it works fine on paper. It's called Angelus. Angelus Direct. There's another brand I have. It's a cheap brand. Oh, Artist Loft.
Oh yeah,
not expensive, but they work good.
Yeah.
I have a few gouache, Winsor Newton gouache.
Okay.
I have tons of Prismacolors. I have probably 22 boxes of Black Widow color pencils and sets.
Watercolors.
You know what? I just got a new set in what's that brand? That main brand of watercolors.
There's so many.
There's a brush brand. Gosh.
You've got Van Goghs, you've got Daniel Smiths, you've got Talons.
It's is it Kuretake? The Kuretake Zig, I believe, is what it is.
I don't know those.
Yeah, I believe it's a Kuretake Zig. It's a well-known brand. That's the only markers I have.
They're watercolor markers. Oh, I was not aware of that. You have watercolor markers, not tubes?
Yeah, no, they're markers. I don't no, I haven't gotten tubes yet. I have another alcohol marker. It's really good. They're kind of hard to get a hold of now. Cure Color. I have Chart Pack ad markers, which are xylene.
So you basically have every kind of marker that exists. You
Yeah,
are a marker dude.
I have Edding, I have Micron, I have Faber-Castells, Conte, Caran d'Ache. I have I have tons of vintage markers that are impossible to get a hold of.
Well, that's not surprising.
I have a marker, best marker ever created. Eberhard Faber design marker, the metal barrels with xylene. Those are impossible to get a hold of. I have people contacting me to this day to buy my collection, and I'm like, no. I got a hold of them 3 years ago from a lady who didn't even know she had them. Her parents had a store. They passed away.
What were they called again?
Eberhard Faber design markers.
Eberhard
There's two versions. Yeah, there's a metal barrel and like an alcohol barrel where they took out the xylene, but the xylene is the better version. I got them from a lady whose parents owned a store. She went to their storage after they passed away with her daughter, and she opened it. And she's like, all of a sudden, boxes of markers, just 10 feet back storage by 8 feet wide. And I ended up getting lucky meeting her, and she sold me 20 boxes.
Wow.
And she gave me a deal. She's like, I actually had a guy I just sold another 22 to. I'm like, who? She's like, some farmer. I'm like, a farmer? She's like, yeah, he uses them for drafting. I'm like, okay. She's like, whatever I have left, you can buy.
One minute.
You're good. So yeah, they're xylene based markers.
So all your markers are, well, I mean, most of your art supplies are markers then.
Yeah.
I was assuming that you had like, I mean, I just thought some of them were in tubes or something, but they are all markers, because I did see on your Facebook page, I mean, you have like, I mean, I've been into Omar Dessart and Michael's and stuff. I've never seen so many markers.
Yeah, they're 99% of it's markers. I have 2 airbrushes, a lot of airbrush paint, a lot of acrylics, a lot of pastels, not soft pastels. I have hard pastels.
Okay.
The Stabilo pastels work great. The pencils. I have Stabilo markers.
You have any sketchbooks?
What can you like? I'm curious about pastel pencils. What can you mix them with?
Everything. I first got onto that specific brand, that Conte brand, back in 5th grade. I seen a friend using it, and he had this drawing. I bought it off him. I'm like, make me another one. He's like, what do you want? I told him, paid him. Within that week, I had this awesome drawing. But as I got older, I tried to use them. I couldn't use them. I'm like, they're not working. And I would break them. I would get upset. I'm like, okay, now I'm better. I know I can use them. I started using them, and now they're easy. They work great. I go over them with airbrush, marker, all that stuff. I picked up another handful the other day, along with I believe it's called Pentel or Pantel.
Pentel, I think.
Pastel, the little jars, the little lids, I guess you would call them.
Oh, the pattern pastels.
Yes, those. That's what I picked up. I've been wanting to try those, and I know they're good. So I picked up a few of those.
Every time I've seen any pictures that are like hyper realism, it's usually pastel, like pan pastels.
Yes, that's what got me onto them. I'm like, because I have some ideas, where I want to use them on. Like, I'll be starting a drawing probably this weekend, and it's gonna take me about a year, hopefully less than a year. 8 feet by 16 feet drawing of Garbage Pail Kids. So
your studio is big enough to do that?
Yeah, I picked actually, the way I'm doing it, I picked up Bristol paper, Bristol tablets, 22 tablets.
Oh, the boards. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll just be taking out the sheets, and then they're all being labeled on the back with the number and a row they're gonna go in. So when it's done, then I can, put them all together, not lose track of them. I'll take them probably Probably to a gymnasium that I have contacts with that I can go in there and get the pictures and, use a drone to get the full footage of it and everything.
That
Wow.
sounds
Very
incredible.
cool.
So, do you have any sketchbooks at all that you use? Or are you someone who
I
just
have
works right away onto your surface?
I have 11 or 14. A lot of my first sketchbooks were a lot of graffiti. Um, that's what I got into. That's what helped a lot. But I couldn't stand just boring graffiti. I'm like, so I would do full on backgrounds and characters. I started doing volunteer work in LA at like a homeless shelter ages ago. I don't even remember the name of it. They had an after school program. So me and my friends would go over there. They're all, well, we'll let you paint our huge walls. And in return, you show these kids how to draw. I'm like, oh, that's not a problem. So we would take them sketchbooks and art supplies, give them to them.
Mm.
We stayed in contact with it. I stayed in contact with those kids as they got older. I mean, it was years. They got out of drawing, but they stayed into drawing. I met them in middle school, and we stayed in contact all the way till high school.
They never
Um,
forget the help you give them.
oh
Like
yeah, no,
like,
and I've had a few of them reach out to me, in the last 2 to 3 years to say thanks, and they're doing good and this and that. So it's a good feeling. I have about 14 sketchbooks in total. I have one that was custom made.
Oh, what was it made of, may I ask? How was it
It,
made?
it's a red cover, like the ones you see at Michael's that are, you hardly see. I couldn't find a bookbinder forever. All of a sudden I keep researching. Little did I know this bookbinder is like 10 minutes away from me. And I was looking for one for years. And this guy's like has a shop down the street. I go there. He's super cool. Him and his wife showed me their whole facility, their warehouse, and it's huge. He's like, what do you got? And I told him, showed him, he's like, oh man, your book's damaged. And I have a drawing book that's 24 by 36.
Whoa, that's a big
And
one.
he's like, yeah, he's like, this is a huge book. It's got damage. I'm like, yeah, it was bad. Over the years, just it took damage. And I hate my stuff damaged. I'll get all frustrated. So I'm like, it's about time I got to get this book redone. So he checked it out. He's like, okay, I could take out everything and add in. He's all, I would put better paper, higher quality. So I picked up some super bright white paper at my main art store.
You mean downstairs in your studio, your main?
Yeah. So next time we do an interview, we'll do it down there when it's not raining, and I'll show you that book. He basically redid my whole book about a month and a half. And I mean, he's like, it's gonna cost you a lot, and it wasn't even a lot to me. It was like $171, and well, that's nothing.
Okay.
And so I paid him more than it was worth, and I was happy with it. It's same as the one I had, except it's a red cover. And
Yeah.
instead of using the regular white paper they use in sketchbooks,
Yeah.
I used each sheet of paper was about $10. And there's 60 sheets of paper in that book.
Must be
wow.
So
must be
and
beautiful.
yeah, no, it's good. I like the
I
quality of the
wanna draw in
paper.
it.
Yeah, no, you can use everything from an airbrush to spray cans in there. And it's not going to go through the other side. You can use watercolor on it. Nothing's going to soak through. So that's what I'm okay. I got good paper and a good quality book.
That's one thing I wanted to ask you. Ingrid just reminded me. When you do a sketch card, how do you approach it? Do you sketch it out in pencil first? Do you do
Wait,
ink?
okay, like the Garbage Pail Kid cards.
Yeah.
Those I'll make a list of the characters I want to do. Like I'll get on the internet real quick with it because there's limitations that we can and can't do, or they'll say you could do this series, but don't draw this specific character because they've had issues with some characters and they're changing a lot of rules. Okay.
Mm.
And sometimes there's a theme, so they want us to draw at least 10 to 15 cards with this certain theme, and then the rest you're free to do whatever you want as long as you follow the stipulations. I'll go in there, Google my characters, research them. Okay, get my laptop out, keep it right there next to me, or I'll just run to the store, go print copies real quick, keep them on my desk. Sometimes I'll go with a pencil or a non-photo blue pencil. If not, it goes straight into just color pencil.
I think you're the
And then
first
after,
person who has mentioned the non-photo blue pencil. That used to be like de rigueur way back when, whenever you were doing
yeah,
equations and stuff like that. Nobody uses that anymore.
no, I know a few people that do. I got into it like last year because I hate mistakes, and I would have pieces that you could see the mistakes, and I didn't know how to clean them up. And then I learned, oh, this is how people clean up their artwork. They'll use different mediums over it, and that's how you clean up a lot of the artwork. So that's why I started using a lot of the photo blue pencils. I'm like, I would be drawing with a pencil and I couldn't get rid of certain marks. And when I was using just all markers, you would see marks, and that drives me crazy.
Okay.
So now I've learned to clean up stuff a lot better.
Do you have any advice for any people who might be watching that might like to get into what it is that you do?
Sketch cards, tops, or any sketch cards. Just send a good, simple resume. It doesn't need, they don't want a huge resume from what I've learned. It's simple and quick. Send them 12 to 15 cards. Keep sending your info. They don't contact you, just keep sending it. Someone will get back to you. That's what happened to me. It took a while, like I said. I mean, that's it for the most part. Keep drawing. Sometimes you get stressed out. You'll have a full drawing done, and then you look at it and you won't like it. I had one done recently for a client, and it was all the black and white. The pen ink was done, the pencil, obviously, and I was going to start coloring it. But I looked at the face, and I'm like, this guy's chin does not look right. And I'm like, if I leave it, it's going to bug me. And I knew the client wouldn't catch it. And I showed him just to see what he said. He's like, it looks amazing. Da, da, da. I'm like, okay, I got bad news for you. He's like, what do you mean? I'm all, just call me. So he called me. I explained to him. He's like, but it looks perfect. I'm like, yeah, but if you look closely, it doesn't look perfect. So I showed him. I circled it. He's like, you really want to do that whole card? I'm all, no. It was a 4 sketch card. So I cut off the top of the sketch card, luckily. And I was able to insert the other 2, and it looked just as good. I finished it 2 days later. And he was super happy. He was so happy. He actually referred a friend to me, and his friend contacted me instantly, and he wanted a bigger piece of art. He ended up buying a poster off me.
Wow, cool.
It took me a long time to finish, but it got done. He was happy. I framed it, shipped it to Idaho or Illinois, I think it was.
That's a big chance. Sending something.
Yes.
I do not do that anymore. Many years I don't do that.
I actually got to get one ready to ship out today in a frame to one of my clients. I mean, as long as you pat them, and yeah, you're paying for the framing and all that, and be secure. But so far, I haven't had anything broken or people upset, so it's a good thing.
Good for you. Lindsey, do you have any other questions that you might like to ask?
I think that's everything. It's been really interesting. Like, I can't wait to see your studio.
The next one will be in there. I'll be showing you guys everything.
You mentioned you might be moving to a bigger studio.
Not for 2 years. Yeah, 2 years we'll be moving. So then I'll have a bigger garage to convert, like 3 times the size.
Awesome.
Come on, admit it. You're going to open a store, an art store. That's what you're going to do.
That's what everybody says. It's literally full of nothing but art supplies and statues. Like superhero statues, like Venom and all that stuff like that. X-Men statues.
Oh, it's like my studio. They've got a lot of Rick and Morty and Ninja Turtles.
Yeah. Well, mine was nothing but Ninja Turtles, Transformers, G.I. Joes, He-Man, and all that. Then I sold off all my collectibles. Like 3 months ago, I got paid good money for them, so I sold them.
You didn't sell any Ninja Turtles.
Yeah. Oh, those were the first things that go like instantly. My friend called. He's like, I'll take them all right now. Just make me a list of what you have, and I'll make you. Just tell me what you want. Yeah, they sold instantly.
I bought some NECA Turtles figures like years and years ago now, but they're really hard to get hold of. I paid £100 for the full set and extras. Yeah. And they're going for about $5,000 now.
Yeah, the Ninja Turtles are popular. They sell. They're gonna keep going up in value.
I'm so tempted to sell them, but I can't. I'm like, no.
I got some statues coming in, Ninja Turtle statues that'll be coming in soon.
What brand?
They're from a company called Iron Studios.
You see, this is why I stopped collecting, because so many people seem to have the license now. I can't keep up. I cannot afford to keep up.
There's companies that are super expensive. I have statues that are worth $650, $750 a piece, $1,500. I have a new company that I want to pick up a statue from, and I think the statue is like a $1,700 statue.
Like I've got the Sideshow turtles, the first ones that brought out, and
Sideshow.
I don't have Donatello because he was always over $1,000, and I couldn't afford it. And then there's the Playmate statues I've got. Well, I've only got Leonardo, to be honest.
Yes.
2 of them we had to be on special order, and I got to a point where I was like, I can't collect these anymore.
Yeah,
like,
no, they get pricey. I order a lot of stuff from Sideshow. I had packages coming last week, Star Wars from Sideshow. Iron Studios, there's XM Studios, which is, I mean, you order from them, it's just absurd. Like, I think their lowest statue starts like at $2,500.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just, my thing's just filled with art supplies and statues and custom video game systems, arcades.
Oh,
arcades.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't collect much stuff, but if I was a collector, I'd probably collect some of the old arcade things, because I'm old enough to remember Pac-Man and
I got Pac-Man.
And the really early Star Wars video games. Of course, they were big machines back then, but the ones that were basically just pew pew pew.
Yeah. I have a
fun to play. I mean, I had a ball with that.
Yeah, I got tons of them. I mean, the most famous video game system from back in the days, besides Coleco and Atari, is Neo Geo.
I remember Neo Geo.
That's like having an arcade in your home. That thing's amazing.
Well, obviously the kids at school who had a Neo Geo, everyone was so jealous, and everyone would pile around to their house because they've got a Neo Geo. And
yep.
Like one game because they were that expensive.
Yeah, they were. And it's funny. I'm like, I'm gonna get this thing one day. And my parents bought us everything. There was 5 of us, and they bought us everything. That was the only thing my mother didn't buy me. And I was like, why are you not buying this for me? She'll no, it's too expensive. I'm like, but you buy me everything else, Shell. That's the reason why. So as I got older, I got it, and now I have it, and it's great.
It's funny how like stuff you couldn't have when you were a kid, like you've got to get when you get older. Like I didn't even have one Turtles figure, and then when I started working full time, that were when the figures came out in, like, I think it was about 2001. I just bought them all.
Yes, yeah. My mom would take me to the store. I'll pick up a G.I. Joe or 2 or 3 at the most, unless it was my birthday. And when I was collecting, I would just go into Target, Toys R Us, and fill up the whole shopping cart. And Garbage Pail Kids, I would go to 7-Eleven. She would buy me a couple of packs, or the ice cream truck. I would pick up a few, and they were $0.25. So to this day, why she wasn't buying me full boxes, Lord only knows. And now I'll go and buy cases and boxes.
Yeah.
And I tell her, I'm like, you could have bought me boxes, the whole box at the 7-Eleven. And she's like, yeah. And, she'd be like, what's your point? I'm like, they were $0.25 a pack. You buy me like 2 or 3 or a couple. And I'm like, you could have bought me the whole box.
Packs now, God, they're expensive. They're like...
They're
£3 here for like Minecraft cards at the moment.
I got some last night. They were from Target. The new ones that just came out. They're called blasters from Chrome. $22 a box, I believe, with tax, 23. And then the packages were 16 plus tax. And I got those last night. I had one of my friends call me. He's like, hey, do you need these? He sent me pictures. I'm like, yes, take the whole shelf.
It was getting difficult for people to get older Star Wars cards at one point. I remember in lockdown, like, they were all selling out. And
they were. I literally would go to Target. Target's 2 minutes away from me. I literally I went, and the lines were out the door, and I went to go not even get cards. I went to go get Garbage Pail Kids. And at that time, they're big, but people were going that day for a release of Pokemon, baseball and football cards released that day. and the lines are out of control. I'm like, well, I don't think I need to wait in line for those. I just want Garbage Pail Kids. There's not a line for those. I went, met the security, and he's like, oh, no, you don't need to wait in line. And I remember some little hoodlum, why are you cutting? I'm like, this guy talking to me? And we got in an argument, and then all his friends came up, and they're like, no, we got him. Don't worry. And I'm like, all right, just get him away from me because I don't really want to have to hurt your little buddy. You know, the security guards was like, oh, man. And then he started yelling at security guards, and people were yelling at security guards, why is this guy cutting? And he had to tell him, like, look, he's not even in line for Pokemon, baseball, or football cards like you guys. So as soon as the doors opened, they let me in first. They made everybody else wait. And I went in there and bought all kinds of stuff. That I kid you not, like 20 minutes later, that guy came up to me. He apologized and this and that. And for about the next month, they had releases, like special releases. He asked me to help him get some releases that he had to wait in line for. He goes, since you can get in there early, can you help me? I'll pay you extra. I'm like, sure, Mom, but don't pay me extra. You know, I was like, but people would literally get in arguments for cars. I've seen it. I've seen people push other people for cars, and it was crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
It's just not like that in the UK. Like for card collecting, people aren't crazy for it over here.
Over here, they're oh man. I mean, I remember I met a scalper. I became good friends with him because he was helping me get at the time Funkos.
Oh, and yeah.
I sold my collection recently, obviously, as well. But there were some that I'm like, how am I missing all these? I'll be in there. And, you know, day of release, and then they'll switch to release date on you. And I remember meeting this guy, and he's like, yeah, I can help you. And his whole car was full, his Tesla. He opened up the back and the back doors full of baseball, football cards, Funkos. And then we became friends, and he would help me. I'm like, you're a reseller, huh? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, that explains why you're driving a Tesla.
Yeah. Where can people find you online?
Oh man, my Facebook, I believe, is Eric E. Medina. Okay. My Instagram is Eric Ezo1, I believe. Those are the two social media accounts I have. Right now I have a website being made. I'm supposed to have YouTube videos being started. I've just been so busy. So I'll get those started soon. And that's it for right now. Besides, you know, they want to Google Forbes and Tops Artists. You'll see my name pop up in there real quick with an article.
Well, that sounds like a good plan. Google Forbes and Garbage Pail Kids. There you go.
Yeah, it'll pop up in there. Like I said, I'll have a website up soon and all that. If I get the 2 comic book covers, my name will be a lot more known.
Awesome. Well, good on you.
Tell us about it. Like, I'm sure you will. You seem to be doing amazing.
It's going good. I actually spoke with Guinness Records, and everything was going good for them until we had to cut off some things because they were so expensive.
Guinness Records?
The Guinness Book of World Records.
Yeah. Oh, you were doing something for them too?
I was gonna do a drawing, but at the time I had people wanting to be involved to sponsor me, to send me supplies so their company names can be in there. So every sponsor you get for Guinness Records, obviously you got to pay like $1,000 fee. Okay. But then when you start, every sponsor you put, they want $2,000 a sponsor. So I had 11 companies reach out to me that wanted to send me supplies.
Ooh, that's a lot of money.
So I'm like, okay, well, I can't go ask these companies for, you know, offering me product and then $2,000 each. And then the worst part of it was these companies want to be known. So when they give you your plaque at the end, every company's name that you also want to put on the plaque is another additional $2,000. And, you know, they had contacted me from the UK and we were talking. They're like, so this is how it goes. And so, you know, at the end of it, the total came out to like the cheapest we could do is like 19,000. I'm like, wait, what is all this entitled? They're all, well, you're going to use our name. We got to promote you. We got to send a video person out there. I'm like, well, no, I can get a video person from out here. You know, that's not even a problem. But you got to do it when you're doing a drawing of that size, a painting, whatever. You got to do it a certain way. So they have to make their money.
Okay, so this was for the big painting you're doing, right?
Oh, no, I was going to that one was going to be a 7,000 square feet drawing. That was going to take me 3.5 years.
I see. All right, I gotcha.
And then once we couldn't come to a total that was, in my range. I'm like, I can't ask these sponsors to give me $19,000. I'm like, I'm not going to do that. They're already going to send me product. So I just contacted them. I'm like, let me put it on hold. If I decided, they're all, well, the person I spoke with was nice. So you can do it for a lot cheaper. I'm like, why didn't you tell me that in the beginning? I kept asking. So at the end of it, the conclusion was, if I were to do it now, besides the drawing taking me forever, and that's hoping that nobody in between those 3.5, 4 years does a bigger drawing, then I have to resize mine. It would cost me about $1,000, not including all the product I'd have to pay for out of my pocket.
Only time.
At the time when you don't use sponsors, it's a lot cheaper. She's like, you can't, you can't do this and that, and you can't promote it this way. And there's like a lot of rules and stuff I have to sign. You pay $1,000, you sign this and that. And then it's not even a guarantee that the drawing's going to get into Guinness. I'm like, that makes no sense. So I just cut it off. And that's where I came up with that idea of 8 feet by 16 feet. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do a drawing. I'm going to get it done. It's never been done by nobody in Tops.
It seems like something you really, really want to do, whether you're doing it records or not. It seems like this is something.
Oh yeah, it's gonna get done. I've already bought the 22 books of Bristol paper. And now I know how I'm going to lay them out. That's not even a problem. I'm going to label them, how to keep them all safe.
One thing I didn't ask you that I meant to ask you. How did it come to be that you were sponsored by Copics?
I got lucky. I basically hit them up. I contacted them, email, then I called them because they didn't call me back and I was getting impatient. And we talked. They're like, okay, what's your idea? At that time, I was in a lot of graffiti art and my comic books. But you guys need to understand, graffiti is where you're making money nowadays. I got a friend in New York named Sess, huge graffiti artist. I'm 44. This guy's older than me. This guy's been all over the world painting graffiti. That's what he lives off of. And he works for Tops also, but he does their Project 70 baseball cards. You Google that name, Sess graffiti artist, you'll see him all over the internet. Books, videos made about the guy. And so that's how I got into the Copic. And I want to do events for you guys out, So they're like, interesting, okay. And you could tell they were kind of iffy. Like they hear graffiti, they're like, well, no, not just graffiti, like murals, a lot of artwork. I sent them pictures. They're like, oh, okay, this is technically art. I'm like, yes. That's how I got into Copic. I was, did a lot of little shows for them here and there, promotion. After 3 years, I ended it. The promotion wasn't going the way I expected. We hadn't done one interview. They hadn't posted anything on social media or their website. I was like, what is going on? I was in talks with their vice president. We had a lot of issues, a lot of disagreements. I was just like, I'm over it. I quit. They weren't promoting me the way I should have been promoted. So I took time off. After that, I got sponsored by a company called Style File Markers. I did that for a year. They didn't promote me the way I thought they should have. Nothing was ever posted. I'm just like, what are you guys doing? You send me thousands of dollars worth of product and you're not promoting me. So took time off again with them. I was over it. I got sponsored by a company out of Australia for markers called Iron Lac. Same thing with them. I'm like, what are you guys all doing? You're all sending me massive amounts of markers. Like, this is not happening. So took time off. I was like, I don't think I can, I'm going to need a sponsor because nobody knows how to promote, or I don't know what's going on. Then I find out, fast forward to now, years later with Copic, they got a new, their vice president got let go. They got a new guy, which is whoever. So Copic separated, they had separations. One of their head guys left, which is the owner of Olo Marker, an alcohol marker, one of my sponsors. So we spoke months ago. We were in talks. They're one of my new sponsors. And he used to be with Copic. He's like, I know you. I remember your name. He's like, yeah, you left the company. He's like, I heard this and that. He's like, what happened? We talked about what happened. He's like, well, I want to get you on board with us. So they're my alcohol marker sponsor right now.
Cool. Cool.
That's how I came into Copic, left Copic, left a few other brands. Right now everything's going good with Olo. They actually just messaged me wanting to promote some work.
Sweet.
Thule Art is my other acrylic sponsor. They're like Posca markers, they're paint markers, they work great.
You're doing pretty good in the sponsor department.
So far, yeah, I got 4. I had a watercolor company contact me yesterday from Australia. So I'm waiting to hear back from them.
Well, if you're too busy to take on more sponsors, send them our way.
I had a watercolor company contact me yesterday and an acrylic paint company. So I'm hoping to get those 2. Then after that, I need a few more, like a gouache company. Well, I wouldn't mind a brush company. You can never have enough paintbrushes.
Oh, I agree with you there. You can never have enough. No.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to head on out the door here. Any last words? Something that we didn't ask you, or a topic, or a subject you'd like to mention before we leave?
No, I can't wait to the next interview because I can show you guys the whole marker studio, and
we'll have you back on. And I don't know, you could give away. Maybe we can get a little giveaway, one marker thing to promote all your promotion stuff. And
I can get some Black Widow color pencils, some Thule markers for sure. And by the time we do the next interview, I'll be able to show you. If I don't have them and they're already shipped out, I can show you some images from the next card set I do for Tops.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you so much for having been with us, Eric. This has been fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. You've done a lot of stuff, and I can't wait to pick your brain for more stuff.
Thank you guys for having me.
That studio of yours, that's just like, I'm so intrigued now.
Oh, yeah. No, it'll be, right now it's a mess because I got stuff everywhere. And as soon as I get back out of here, I'm going to go down there and start drawing.
We know about messes, don't we, Lindsey?
Oh, yeah, you can't see behind my laptop.
Okay, well, thank you so much again, Eric. Have all the best to you in 2023.
All right, thank you guys very much.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, take care.